Uh-oh. Okay, we'll start with this. It would appear that WBC Super Lightweight Champion Alberto Puello is ready to unify. He says, I want to unify with the winner of Rayo versus Russell right away. Alberto Puello, if you haven't seen him, and you probably haven't, he's big for 140 pounds, long and limber, likes to move, likes to box.
So does Sandor.
That's why I'm not looking forward to the fight between them, the one they're about to have. Sandor is his mandatory challenger, so he has to deal with this guy. It's conceivable that Alberto will win a points decision.
If he does, and my prediction sticks when it comes to Russell versus Rayo, I've got Gary Russell winning that fight. I've got Gary Russell knocking out Rayo.
This would set up a rematch between them, between Gary Russell and Alberto Puello, except this time it would be for 2 of the 4 major titles at the weight, though the question is, given the current state of affairs at the PBC, do they even have the resources to put that together? They've been outsourcing a lot of their fighters. A lot of guys you used to see on PBC shows have been popping up all over the place. So the question is, do they have the resources to put together a unification match if and when the time comes? I saw Gary's initial meeting with Alberto. It was a forgettable fight.
Kind of boring, kind of monotonous. Alberto won, obviously, went on to become WBC champion. I don't really have a hankering for a rematch, even though it would be for 2 major titles. It would help to unify this division.
So there's that. I don't think there's much money in it for them. Alberto running it back with Gary, doing the dance again. I don't think there's much money in it for them because neither of these 2 guys are well known, talked about. There are a lot of active conversations in the sport of boxing. Very few of them center around either Gary Russell or Alberto Puello. In fact, I think they would make more waves fighting other people than fighting each other again.
My honest opinion is they should both go to Matchroom. Matchroom has a lot going on, a lot of prize stallions at 140 pounds. And you know, you'd probably make more money boxing a Matchroom fighter than boxing each other again.
Dalton Smith is set to see action again tomorrow. Dalton Smith, one of Matchroom's prized stallions in this division. He's going to be fighting Lisa. If he wins, he comes one step closer to fighting for an alphabet title.
Jack Catterall versus Arnold Barboza in a few weeks' time. Whoever wins that fight becomes the WBO's mandatory challenger.
Teofimo Lopez is WBO champion, but he's not going to stay at this weight. He means to unify titles with Richardson Hitchens, then move up to 147. So, whoever wins this fight might go on to be elevated to full WBO champion.
Matchroom has a lot going on at this weight, and Alberto Puello, Gary Russell, they should consider going over there.
They have to have seen how few shows the PBC did last year, and they should be asking themselves, what are the odds that they'll be able to put together a fight between us in a timely fashion? Gary Antoine Russell, especially, who's only boxed 2 times in the last 2 years. He only boxed once the entirety of 2023 and only once the entirety of 2024. 28 years old. Squandering his prime years as a pugilist, you get a small window to make money in this sport, and he's letting his window close.
At this point, I don't know why anybody would stay over there with the number of fighters that they see migrating to other sides of the street or boxing on other people's shows. Why are these 2 guys still over there?
Why would they be after their upcoming fights? The best thing for Alberto and Gary to do jointly is to just take their business elsewhere, but we'll see. Alberto wants to unify with the winner of Russell versus Rayo, and we'll see if he does. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Oscar De La Hoya uploaded a fiery Clapback Thursday segment, Haney must sack his dad. Oscar De La Hoya has called on Devin Haney to sack his father, Bill Haney. In a fiery version of his Clapback Thursdays, De La Hoya took issue with Bill as talks over a Ryan Garcia rematch continue to rumble on. Garcia defeated Haney in the first fight last April by majority decision. He dropped Haney 3 times to secure one of the biggest upsets in recent memory. Unfortunately for Garcia, the result came back a no contest after he tested positive for Osterin. Ryan was given a year ban, meaning he cannot box professionally until April of this year. Garcia's next fight has been confirmed as he will face Rolly Romero in the first Ring Magazine event in May. Meanwhile, Haney will box on the undercard against Jose Ramirez. Haney's reaction towards the no contest was heavily scrutinized. He responded by filing a lawsuit against Ryan Garcia, arguing that there was a breach of contract, battery, and unjust enrichment. Garcia's team has already said that the lawsuit has to be dropped before there can be any rematch. Meanwhile, Haney's team is demanding VADA testing. The scandal has damaged Haney's brand, while Garcia's social media following has increased exponentially. However, Garcia's failed VADA tests have to be taken into account. The Haneys will likely demand more leverage. De La Hoya has now responded by slamming Bill. He felt that Bill's insistence on speaking for his son was taking the spotlight away from the fighter. He urged Devin to be his own man by speaking out more, suggesting that he should get rid of his father. Bill naturally did not take those comments very well, as he fired back. In De La Hoya's rant, he said, "I feel sorry for Devin Haney because you hardly ever hear him speak because his dad does all the talking. Sure, Devin had a bad loss this year, but it shouldn't have been career-ending. It should have been easily fixed if it wasn't for his father and manager, Bill, who single-handedly turned it into a more toxic situation than Chernobyl. I've never seen a big mess up for a boxer's career in my life. All Devin had to do after losing to Ryan last April was say, 'He beat me. I couldn't block his left hook.'"
He's one to talk. He's one to stand on his soapbox and harp about sore losers when after Floyd Mayweather beat him, he was bitter about it for years, even though he had all the advantages going in. His weight, his ring, his gloves.
Still lost. And after he did, he wasn't anywhere near as gracious as he's telling Devin to be.
You expect Devin not to say anything about the Osterin, or Ryan missing weight by 3 pounds.
Oscar continued, "He beat me, I couldn't block his left hook and then get back in the gym. Instead of focusing on a comeback fight in 2024 and teaching his son to block the left hook, Bill thought it was a better idea to have Devin sue Ryan for battery and emotional distress." Devin Haney, from one fighter to another, "You have to take control of your life and career and fire your father. Everyone in boxing stood by and watched what happened this year. A year you were supposed to shine. You are now a punchline. Everyone sees he's the problem. He, Bill, didn't even stop the fight with Ryan when your jaw was broken and you were on the canvas," De La Hoya said.
I don't agree with most of what Oscar De La Hoya said. It's another instance of throwing stones in a glass house because, like I said, he's not one to be talking about sore losers when he's one of the biggest sore losers. He was sore after Floyd beat him.
Even more after Canelo Alvarez left him, went over to Matchroom, then he was sore with Eddie. He was angry at Eddie, but he's gonna tell Devin Haney to be gracious in all of this, when he's anything but gracious with his own situations.
Bill isn't Devin's problem. I wouldn't say that.
Not even the lawsuit and how bad that looks? You wouldn't say that's not on Bill?
No, I told you. When it comes to the lawsuit, I don't actually think they were looking to be awarded damages. I think it was a leverage play. In order to achieve favorable terms in a rematch, they were going to use that lawsuit as leverage. You give us what we want, we make the lawsuit go away. But if you don't, we're going to pursue it.
That's what I think that really was, though most people misread it because most people are stupid. So if the whole thing was really about getting favorable terms in a rematch, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting Ryan to get tested?
You don't think he should?
And you don't think there should be contingencies and penalties in the event that Ryan Garcia decides to blow the weight? That there shouldn't be some sort of plan of action for that? If you don't, then you're just showing your hand and what side of the aisle you're on when all these guys want is an even playing field. And in the last fight, that was not an even playing field.
This is another one of those arguments where the guy's trying to make it about something that it ain't. Oscar De La Hoya is trying to make this about Bill.
Bill is the problem. and not the aspirin they found in Ryan's system, or that Ryan didn't abide to the contracted weight of 140 pounds. It's all Bill's fault. Bill Haney, who said Oscar De La Hoya was never undisputed, something Devin and I accomplished together because we trusted each other. I'm the 2023 Manager of the Year
Because I believed in my son and he believed in me. That's something Oscar De La Hoya never had with his father, and it shows in how he treats his own kids. No, I don't want to come over to your house. Oscar kept the house, but lost everything in it with his kids, his trust, and his legacy as a father. He's got 3 kids who won't step foot in his house, and 3 who can't, including his 11-year-old daughter, Victoria, who deserves better. Meanwhile, Sean and my 10-year-old daughter, Bella, are thriving. Both A students and tennis standouts, living under my roof with love and support. Oscar is trying to make Bill seem like he's the problem. But how could Bill be the problem when he's managed to get his son more money than he should be getting?
Think about it. When DAZN first debuted in America, and they were trying to funnel all that American talent to them, there were a lot of fighters that didn't want to go over there. Devin was one of the ones that did.
Who do you think told him to do that?
Of course, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and DAZN had their hand in it, in Devin making the kind of money that he was making, but before you get to that point, you've got to go over there. And who do you think told him to go over there?
Bill.
And after he was done over there, who do you think told him to go over to Top Rank after that, to pursue a fight with George Kambosos for Undisputed that resulted in not 1, but 2 paydays in Australia?
Bill.
Another with Vasyl Lomachenko, then another with Regis Prograis, and then another with Oscar's boy, with Oscar's fighter.
You're losing me.
If what Oscar's trying to say is that Bill is mismanaging his son's career, no, he isn't. He's managed to get his son more money than he should be getting, because we all know Devin isn't that popular.
We all know he doesn't sell that much, yet somehow he's managed to make very good money for a long time now. And Bill Haney has a lot to do with that.
And he stands to make even more now if your fighter will sign on the dotted line. There's no reason not to. If you're so confident,
So is Ryan. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you go in there and beat up the same guy that you beat easy before for even more money? Saudi money. What's holding you back?
the VADA testing. That's why Oscar's trying to deflect. Make it about Bill. This is all Bill's fault.
He can't see how this looks.
Ryan can't either. You couldn't shut the hell up about how easy you beat Devin Haney before just for all of that stuff to come out. So the opportunity to do a rematch rolls around. It's already a big fight without Turkey El Sheikh. It's even bigger with him. You both stand to make a fortune. And all you gotta do is beat up the same guy you beat up before on a bigger stage for more money. And you're sandbagging it.
Why?
Because you're not as confident as you let on. You know you're going to be on an even playing field this time. You're not going to be the house fighter. This is not going to be a Golden Boy promotion show. You don't get to take your special sauce, and you don't get to come in 3 pounds over.
They're sandbagging it.
While Oscar De La Hoya tries to make this about Bill Haney, this is not about Bill Haney. This is about Devin and Ryan.
Nobody else.
Finally, in men's super middleweight news, Terence Crawford and the Canelo Alvarez fight. That's what great fighters are all about. Las Vegas, whether it has been adjusting to a heavier frame or clearing out 2 weight classes, Terence Crawford has always adhered to the principle that boxing is meant to be a continued and renewed challenge. It's why he says he has manifested this opportunity to move up 2 more weight classes and fight fellow 4-division champion Canelo Alvarez, and about being finalized in September. That's what great fighters are all about. Testing yourself against all odds, Crawford told Boxing Scene in an exclusive interview on Friday at the Cosmopolitan after attending his gym mate Steven Nelson's main event weigh-in.
Now, there are some Terence Crawford detractors saying that he's just cashing out. He's only doing this for the money.
As opposed to who? Edgar? Jaime? Why were they fighting Canelo? Why did they want to?
Why did Caleb? Why did Callum? Why did Billy? Why does anybody?
The money. The goddamn money. So why are you acting different when it's Terence Crawford? Crawford knows what the critics are saying, and that fuels him. People say you're too small, or you're outmatched, or you don't belong in the ring with these types of fighters. That's when great fighters perform at their best, he said. Amid a Friday Boxing Scene report that indicates Alvarez is inclined to keep his traditional Cinco de Mayo fight date against another to-be-determined foe before meeting Crawford in September, Crawford said he doesn't plan to fight until he's in the ring against Alvarez and intends to grow comfortably into his new fighting weight. I'm gonna feel great at 168. I don't need to worry about the weight.
Well, that answers that question.
I wondered what was Terence Crawford gonna do in the interim. What was he gonna do up until the point September gets here and he's in the ring with Canelo? And it would seem that he's gonna sit out. He's going to take that time out to grow into 168.
And I don't think he's going to do it by eating ho-hos and ding-dongs. I imagine he's going to use this time to get his strength and conditioning up. Build up some muscle.
I'm gonna feel great at 168. I don't need to worry about the weight. I know I'm gonna feel great, he said. I've got a lot of things to prepare for. That's part of boxing. Meeting milestones you've got to hit. We're gonna be well prepared when that time comes. Asked what he sees as his advantages against the granite-chinned Alvarez, who has lost only to Dimitri Bivol at light heavyweight and Floyd Mayweather Jr. when Alvarez was only 23. Crawford pointed to the identity he has built as America's best fighter of the past decade and its most savage finisher.
Man, we're gonna see come fight time what my advantage is, Crawford said. I'm the type of guy who likes to feel my fighters out and adjust to what they're doing. Not taking a fight in between now and September will allow Terence Crawford to build himself up in the gym, physically.
But the caveat is that by the time September gets here, it will have been a little over a year's time from Terence Crawford's last fight.
Ring rust.
Terence Crawford cites his adaptability as his greatest quality. He says, I think that's my greatest attribute, to be able to figure out every opponent I've faced so far. I'm looking to do the same come fight time when Canelo fight happens. For so long, Crawford, who's now 37, was locked into a multi-fight contract with promoter Top Rank that allowed the best welterweights fighting for rival promoter PBC to avoid him, depriving him of the top caliber opponents he sought to share the ring with in lucrative bouts, especially at 147. Now, Saudi Arabian power broker Turki Al Sheikh has invested deeply in his respect and admiration for Crawford, making him the main event fighter in Al Sheikh's US debut show back in August, and working through some friction with Alvarez to bring this immense showdown close to fruition. I'm definitely grateful for what Turkey has done in the sport of boxing, making all the biggest fights happen, making all of these fan-friendly fights, Crawford said. He's a big fan himself, so he's putting forth so much into making the fights that everyone wants to see by putting the money behind it. I'm very happy with how things are headed and excited about where everything's going. If nothing else, if Terence can't relish victory, he can relish all the money he's going to be counting afterwards, because win, lose, or fall, he's going to have a lot of money.
He is now at 37 years old, getting the opportunity to make all the money he didn't get to make during his welterweight campaign, while the PBC froze him out.
Finally landing the Errol Spence Jr. fight helped to make up for it, but fighting Canelo will more than make up for it. Though because he intends to sit out until September, he is either very confident or very stupid, because Canelo Alvarez is not the fighter you shake off ring rust with.
Canelo intends to fight on in May.
While Terence, behind the scenes, will attempt to acclimate to a weight he's never fought at, a division he's never fought in. Can he do that effectively in a gym setting?
Some people don't like this fight, but my question to them is, who's Canelo supposed to fight?
If not Terence Crawford, who would you have him fight?
What other fight at 168 right now would be bigger than this one?
Quit your crying and enjoy the show.